You're listening to Eat, Play, Live with me, Andy P. Well, this has been one crazy week to say the least, and most of us have been learning or practicing our survivalist skills in this Arctic tundra. Normal routines have been abandoned, and as we've adjusted our schedules to whether or not we've had power and or water. In fact, I was told it was going to be super freezing in the radio station, and it's actually not. It's pleasantly about 70 degrees. So I will take that. I do want to throw in a side note since we do not yet have a sponsor. So I'm going to sponsor myself right quick. As the business operations manager for Greater Texas Solar, I would be remiss if I didn't let you know that we can help you with battery backup. You can give us a call at 830-507-3884 and we can tell you exactly how it works. I've heard people saying that they are done with the grid. They're not going to trust it ever again. So if you want to go off grid, that's an option. If you want to just make sure that you have certain things backed up so that they will not lose power, that is also an option. So there are a lot of different ways you can go, and we can help you through every single step of that process. So again, you can give us a call at 830-507-3884. That is my shameless plug for Greater Texas Solar. All right, let's get into our first segment of Eat, Play, Live. Something that I know a lot of folks have been doing over the last few days is taking refuge in comfort foods. That's what we do, right? When it's cold and we're uncomfortable, we go for those comfort foods. So what are they? Why do we crave them so much? What is it about comfort food that makes it so comfortable? So our first segment, we eat. And I want to know, why do we crave these comfort foods? Well, here's the deal. Typically, they're very energy dense, high fat, and sweet. And that is what we love because it provides pleasure. Temporarily, it makes us feel better. So why? Why? What is it about these foods that do that for us? Well, first of all, they make you feel good, right? Foods that are high in fat, sugar, salt, they activate the brain's reward system. These are the same parts of the brain, actually, that are activated in drug addiction. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, Girl Scout cookies really come to mind, Thin Mints to be exact. They come in that nice little sleeve of cookies, and you think, I'm just going to have one, two, maybe three tops, right? That sugar gets in your system. It is so hard to stop. And that is not just you. That is not just a lack of willpower. The sugar actually is so addictive that it spurs you on to immediately start craving more. So we will talk a lot more about sugar in future episodes, but just know that that's the deal. That's why it makes you feel so good. It's that part of your brain that really gets a reward from those kind of foods. For me, actually, it's salt more so than sugar. Nachos. I'm just going to put it out there. Nachos are my go-to comfort food. So something about that salt and cheese, I don't know, it's goodness right there. They also, comfort foods, can be self-medicating. There's something between them that there's this connection between negative emotions and unhealthy foods. It's a phenomenon they call emotional eating. We've heard of that, right? So when you're in a bad mood, there's something within you that is just drawn more to sugary, fatty foods. And if you're in a good mood, you're drawn more to healthy foods. Like, when is the last time you're just, I'm having such a terrible day, I'm going to run out and get an asparagus? No, it's not going to happen. You're going to go for something that's bad for you, and something about that makes you think it's going to make you feel better. In most cases, the problem is also, not only does it make your body not feel good, but you kind of feel guilty for doing it. So there's sort of this, spiraling effect of the guilt that follows that emotional eating. And it's funny, you see a lot about it on TV. I'm picturing, I think, a Friends episode. Some girl gets her heart broken and her friends console her with a tub of ice cream. Really? That is, it is such a tiny moment where that makes you feel better, and then you feel terrible. The dairy makes you bloated, and you feel guilty for ingesting all of those calories, and it's not going to help. That's just my 2 cents. So the other thing about why we crave comfort foods is a need to belong. Now, I thought this sounded kind of weird, and I got this from a psychology article, just so you know. But basically, what they're talking about here is that we associate certain foods either with members of our family or maybe social gatherings. So something about those comfort foods, they make us feel better, feel like we belong. So when we feel lonely, we crave the foods that give us that comfort and security. It goes way back and can go way back into your past there. And speaking of the past, the next one is nostalgic eating. So there's also a strong connection between scent and emotional memory. You believe that, right? You walk into a movie theater, the scent gets you immediately. You associate it with other movie theater experiences that you've had. You have to have that popcorn. It's extremely difficult to go in there and not start craving popcorn the minute you smell it. And it's that nostalgic connection. Maybe a corn dog reminds you of a time that you went to the state fair. And so you smell a corn dog, you want that. And it's not necessarily because you just love corn dogs, but there's something about that connection that pulls that emotional response that really makes you want to go there. So, special occasions. Comfort food is a big part of, well, I mean, you know how we are in America, especially. We eat for every occasion. If we're celebrating, we have food. If we're mourning, we have food. Well, special occasions frequently involve unhealthy foods, the most obvious being cake, right? So you go to a birthday party and you can tell yourself, or other people there will tell you, you know what, it's just a one-time thing. This is a special occasion. Go ahead and have the cake, right? From a momentary perspective, indulgence seems to make sense, right? That's a good choice. But long term, obviously, healthy choices are going to be a better lifetime choice. So, and here's kind of the thinking that I had on this is I used to work at a place where we would celebrate birthdays once a month, and they would bring in this giant cake once a month. Okay, so you're doing this special thing. You're already doing it once a month for everybody in your office. And then how many people are in your family? Maybe, let's say 4. Okay. And those are spread out. I mean, you know what I'm saying here. You're eating way more cake than you think you're eating because celebrations are not that rare. So if you don't, I don't love cake, so this is an easy one for me, but a lot of people really do. So it can be a challenge, but is it worth it? I mean, maybe just start with a little tiny sliver. If you really, really do like cake, just get a little bit, get that taste, and call it good. Call it a day. So there are comfort foods that are healthy, though. I'm not saying that all comfort foods are bad at all. In fact, I found a website, cookinglight.com. They had all kinds of recipes from stews, casseroles, things you can whip up in your crock pot, soups. Tortilla soup is a go-to that I do a lot, chili. They have all these recipes. So you can go to cookinglight.com, or I posted a link to it on my Facebook page, eatplaylive.andy. That's where you can find me on Facebook. So yeah, you can go right there and there's a link to all those healthy recipes because it is still really cold and it's going to be really cold for a few more days and then it's over. But for now, go ahead and do the comfort foods, but make healthy choices. I don't know how many people I have heard talking about the weight they've gained during quarantine, the weight they've gained just in the last week, the fact that they haven't been able to work out, the fact that we're totally out of our routine. I mean, the last few days, you may not have had power at all, or maybe you had it for an hour and then it was out for 2 hours. So when you had power, you had to eat right now, right? And it doesn't really give you time to make a lot of your normal choices. So it's okay. It's okay. Now we can take a breath, we can regroup, and we can make better choices as we move forward from here. So stay tuned. I have a song you may not have heard before from One Republic called I Lived. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the benefits of playing even in this cold, cold weather. Stay tuned. It's coming, I promise. This must be a really long start. All right.
Cystic fibrosis is a disease that attacks the digestive system and slowly shuts down the lungs.
And we have been living to the extreme the last few days. In fact, did you see the video of some of our crazy Mason residents skiing down one of our steeper streets? If you're on the Mason Community Facebook page, you got to check that out. Scroll through and find that. Or you can actually search ski. That's how I found it. And you can see that happening. And I just love that because it is such a fantastic example of playing. You're listening to Eat, Play, Live with me, Andy P. And I love to play. I mean, just because we grow up doesn't mean we have to stop playing. And skiing down the street right now is awesome. That I just can't think of a better thing you can do. And it keeps you warm when you're moving around, exercising, laughing, and of course, it burns calories. So, I did a little bit of research for you and I found that a lot of winter activities can burn a lot of calories. So, I'm going to give you some examples here. This is based on a 150-pound person, moderate intensity for 1 hour. So if you weigh more than that, you could burn more calories. But just so you know, this give you an idea. So skiing down the street or snowboarding, either one, is going to burn approximately 415 calories an hour. Cross-country skiing, not that we have a lot of flat area around here, but if you did want to cross country, that's 476 calories. That is a lot of calories. Ice skating, also 476. Ice fishing, I saw some people trying to do some ice fishing, 136 calories. So basically you're sitting there, but you're shivering, and shivering also burns calories. So there's some good news for you. Making snow angels, 214 calories burned. Frolicking in the snow. Building a snowman, 285. And sledding, 476. Because once you get to the bottom of the hill, you got to pull that sled back to the top. Even if you're sledding with your kids, you got to pull them and the sled. So that's a lot more even. So what a win. Or if you've had enough of all this nonsense and you're done with snow and you're done with cold and you're like me and you want to just jump on a plane and head to Cozumel, snorkeling burns 340 calories an hour. And sitting on the beach, drinking a mojito, I know a fantastic mojito spot, will burn 100 calories. However, the mojito, you're adding them back in. And raising the little umbrella drink to your mouth is not considered an aerobic exercise. So, sorry, I hate to break that to you. But you get the idea. Get out, have fun, find ways to play, to move your body. That is what having balance in your life is all about. And in our next segment, we're going to talk more about balance and living well and enjoying what we have. So we're going to play a song right quick, and then we'll have more with Eat, Play, Live.
He loves Jameson, Jim, Johnny, and then some more that I can't even name. No, it ain't a lady that's driving me crazy and getting between us again. Sometimes it's red wine, but most of the time it's whiskey that's stealing my dreams. That man loves the bottle more than he loves me. That man loves the bottle more than he loves me. He's been trying to tell me, but I just refuse to believe. I've tried and I've tried, I've pleaded and cried, but now I finally see that man loves the bottle more than he loves me. Well, it's easy to think whenever he drinks that I should just pack up my things. But in those few moments, whenever he's sober, the last thing I want is to leave. But those moments, I guess, become less and less, and the reasons to stay hard to see. That man loves the bottle more that man loves the bottle more than he loves me.
All right, you're listening to Eat, Play, Live with me, Andy P. Thank you so much for tuning in here on this cold Thursday night. But I promise you, it is going to get better. It's going to be a little bit warmer tomorrow. We're going to start the thaw, and then it's going to get warmer and warmer and warmer each day after that. Spring is right around the corner. I know it. I feel it. I believe it. Yeah, it is. I promise. It is coming. I know. What this year has given us so far, it's hard to believe. But yeah, well, you know what? We can take away some good things from this experience, right? Right? We can always find some kind of good. It's there if you just look. So, you know, I wonder, did you realize, or did you, who had any idea that this week we would come to realize how much we rely on power and water? Like, you know that, but you don't really think about it until it's taken away. And then how did that change your priorities? You know, and things I was thinking about when the power was out. Okay, I knew I had a limited amount of battery on my phone. And thankfully in Mason, we were reasonably sure the power would come back on before too long. So, but anyway, you do want to conserve your phone. So calling loved ones, calling to check on your friends, your neighbors, your family, or at least before you surf Facebook or post pictures of your icicles. But just making that shift in priorities, like, okay, I have a limited amount that I can use this tool, and using it for what really matters. It makes you think about what really matters, you know? Real survival skills. There are a lot of people out there who have really had to use survival skills and how to stay warm in their own home and how to stay fed and how to have water for themselves, their pets, their livestock. There has been a lot of skills that you may have known you had, or you may have had no idea. But I just don't think we're going to be caught unprepared like this again. You know, I mean, this kind of thing doesn't happen a lot in Texas, obviously, but we learn when we live through something like this. And even something that, you know, may kind of sound silly, but when the water was barely coming out at a trickle, or people who lost water completely, maybe still don't have water or just have a little bit, and you learn how to shower and wash the really important stuff first, you know, like, maybe the back of your leg isn't that big a deal right now. Let's focus on what matters. So, you know, these are skills. These are things that we've learned as we've learned to live through this, what do we want to call it? Snowmageddon. I'm sure the news has some delightful term that they've named it. But there are good things to be found in a situation like this when you're totally cut off, shut at home, maybe by yourself. You get the gift of time. You get a chance to reconnect with yourself. We get to go in, no matter what you do, there are a million things that are vying for your time. And sometimes it's a gift to be stuck. And you have no choice but to just be there and connect with yourself. Quiet is okay. It's okay. In this world of constantly having to have noise and quick, fast pace, you know, videos and music and feedback all the time, it's okay to just enjoy a little bit of quiet. I discovered the other night that reading under a blanket with a flashlight like kids do, that's fun. I don't know if I've ever done it. I certainly haven't done it in the last 35 years. It was so much fun. Oh my goodness. Appreciating the rare beauty. Some of the pictures that I've seen, the ice formations, the icicles hanging off of buildings and benches and plants, and the just interesting way that the snow and the ice forms. The landscapes around here, we may never in our lifetime see it like this again. This is incredible. So just, you know, taking a moment to appreciate the beauty that's all around us. the value of things like puzzles and board games and books. And, they're always around us. But again, I feel like a lot of us we've gotten busy and we've gotten so technology oriented that we just don't even know how to unplug anymore until the plug is just ripped out from the wall. This may have given you a chance to do things at home that you've been putting off. I have to admit, I actually was dusting my blinds, like every single blind individually. Okay, that is way at the bottom of my to-do list. But today, when you're stuck at home, what are you going to do? Dust your blinds. So, anyway, there are some gifts. So, I encourage you to take the time and, whether you're the type that likes to journal, write it out. Maybe put it on Facebook, Then next year it'll come up in your memories and you can remember the good things that you discovered during this weird time, this week of frozen tundra that we're in. So continue to check on each other, take care of each other. I know I'm not alone, that it meant so much to me, the people who reached out and checked on me this week, and seeing the people that were taking care of each other, taking care of our crews that were working so hard to keep, any power, any water, all of our groceries, gas stations, people that were working in this. Thank you. The crews out on the roads. I saw a guy driving down the road on his tractor trying to plow some of the ice out of the way. Oh my gosh, thank you. So we've got it really good here, folks. I know you know that. So I appreciate you. And thank you once again for tuning in. I will be back next Thursday at 6 p.m. I invite you to tune in and listen to Eat, Play, Live. Until next week, folks.
I got this feeling inside my bones.